weight is 400.100.
The production process of gold bars has several steps. One gold bar has a current value of around $92,000. However, the employees who work with this gold every day are paid an average salary. Production process starts with mining and finding gold seeds, followed by melting and processing to the final polishing and shaping. Unfortunately, 99% of the Earth's gold is in its core, so we need to try to get as much gold as possible from the land around us. Making gold is not that difficult, but it does require a furnace capable of reaching a temperature of around 1,200 degrees Celsius, which is approximately 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit. The world's most expensive gold coin was auctioned for $9.4 million. It's called the Brasher de Bullion, and many collectors want to own it. Ghana is Africa's largest gold producer. The country has a rich history of gold mining, dating back to the 15th century, and today, gold mining is a major part of its economy, contributing over 40% of its total export earnings. 1 kilogram of 99.5% pure gold currently costs around $90,140. This is the Kirkland Lake Gold Macassa site. There are also a large number of gold mines in Canada and Australia. While most gold mines in Africa are open pit, in the Western world, mostly deep mines are used. This underground mine extracts iron ore, which is then shipped out and sent for chemical processing. Very little gold is found in mined iron ore. Nevertheless, the mining pays off. To produce 1 ounce of gold, 30 tons of ore must be mined and processed. The deeper you go, the more gold veins you can find. Special drills work in deep underground tunnels, and advanced technology is used to find gold ore here. After chemical purification of the ore, the resulting substance is put into a special furnace with a huge temperature. Typically, every ton of ore produces less than 10 grams of gold. For further processing, it is necessary to get the gold into a liquid state. Gold melting point is 1,063 degrees Celsius. Although gold is indestructible and difficult to obtain, it is also very malleable. Its high density makes it an easy metal to store and transport. All these qualities make it a unique and highly desirable investment product. Approximately 20% of the world's gold is still to be mined. However, this number is decreasing year by year. It is estimated about 160,000 tons of gold have been mined throughout history. Last year, China was the world leader in gold production. Australia was second, Russia third, the US fourth, and Canada fifth. Gold is the only yellow metal. All other metals darken or turn a yellowish color after they have oxidized or reacted with other chemicals. Now you can see that the gold is flowing, and there are hardly any solid particles in it. Care must be taken in this operation, and the worker must be very experienced to know how to handle molten gold properly. This casting process can easily go wrong. The borax method is a technique of artisanal gold mining, which uses borax as a flux to purify gold concentrates. By using borax, no mercury flour is produced, hence gold recovery increases. Gold is also valuable because it is not affected by air, oxidation, or water, rusting. Factory employees who work with gold bars must wear thick protective clothing. The molten gold remains at a high temperature for many tens of minutes after it is cooled. These workers wearing protective gloves are holding gold bars of great value. The gold casting is made by melting the gold, removing impurities, and then pouring it in liquid form into the desired mold. A conventional cast gold bar is usually pressed by machine and then cut to the desired size. Thanks to its enormous density, this relatively small gold brick weighs over 30 kilograms. The gold brick is now cleaned of surface impurities with a pressurized stream of water and further polished to a beautiful shine. Due to their relatively simple production process and minimal handling, cast bars are generally less expensive than their minted counterparts. The most common way to ensure the authenticity of gold bars and ingots against counterfeiting is to mark the bars with serial numbers. The world's largest gold bar stands at 250 kilograms, which is 8,038 troy ounces. Its value is approximately 21 million US dollars. The surface must be beautifully flat and shiny. Of course, it very much depends on the particular gold bar. Every gold bar you can buy comes with certificates, and the purity value of the gold should be correctly stamped on the gold bar. The purity of gold is marked in carats. The higher the number, the higher the proportion of gold in the alloy. Finished gold bullion is usually worth a huge amount, and it is common for it to be purchased by a company that further smelts and processes the gold into smaller castings, which are then sold to end customers. In this case, fraudsters very often enter the production process. They dilute this pure gold and fraudulently sell it at a higher value than it should be, so beware. It has been estimated that up to 1/4 of the yearly global gold production originates from artisanal or small-scale mining. The typical weighting of gold in a long-term investment portfolio is 3% to 5%, because gold does tend to provide diversification benefits during periods of inflation or market stress. Finished gold and silver bars are automatically loaded into special boxes using robotic automation. Automation and robotization in the production process is increasing year by year. Fewer human workers inside this factory is more efficient and cheaper. The current economic environment presents several compelling reasons to invest in gold. While inflation has cooled, the Fed's rate cuts and increased stock market volatility create a landscape where gold's safe haven appeal is particularly strong. The embossing of the inscription on the gold bar is also done by an automated machine. The inscription here is 250 grams and 995 purity gold. The United States holds the largest gold reserves in the world, totaling 8,133 metric tons. Most of this gold is stored at the United States Bullion Depository, commonly known as Fort Knox in Kentucky. Apart from gold bars, these gold coins are the most common way of selling gold. They have to be packed in boxes. The gold is carefully weighed, rechecked, marked, packed, and then handed over for transport. Nowadays, gold panning is a popular pastime that is mostly impossible to get rich from, as most of the rich areas have already been mined. Gold is a very heavy metal, almost 3 times heavier than iron, with a specific gravity of 19 grams per cubic centimeter, which is favorable for gravity-based mining technologies. The gold content in ore varies widely, from a few grams to several ounces per ton. Different types of gold ore have different physical and chemical properties, which affect the mining, processing, and refining methods used to extract the gold. If you are interested in anything about gold production, please let me know in the comments section below. This gold bar is almost cooled and can now be worked and polished. To cool it down, it is simply placed in clean cold water. Gold is used to make gold coins, gold bars, or jewelry. Gold bars of the highest purity are the most valuable thing you can own. How do you get $1 million in crypto investing? Start with 10 million. Even in the 15 years since its inception, Bitcoin has not been used to any great extent. That's why I have the US paper dollar production process for you. This American factory prints and wraps billions of US dollars worth of banknotes every single day. There are 6 main security features used in the production of US dollars, so you can't print them yourself at home. The Bureau of Engraving and Printing produces 38 million notes a day, with a face value of approximately $541 million. Here, not only $100 banknotes are printed from start to finish. The whole production process starts here. These are bales of cotton which are then used to make US banknotes. US currency paper is composed of 25% linen and 75% cotton. In the fight against counterfeiting, there are 65 steps in the banknote production process. The more complicated, the harder to counterfeit. The average salary for employees at this factory is around $37 per hour, depending on their experience and the specific job. Currency production is not an easy or simple task, but one that involves highly trained and skilled craftspeople, specialized equipment, and a combination of traditional old-world printing techniques merged with sophisticated cutting-edge technology. Before printing gets underway, the design has to be etched onto soft steel plates in a process called intaglio. You can see that right now. The plates then undergo citrography, where the image is replicated in the printing press ink, then covers the press, then wiped off. So only the grooves hold the ink. Then sheets of blended paper have the design placed on them. Before printing banknotes, the printing template is thoroughly checked. Federal Reserve estimates that the total amount of currency in circulation is approximately 2.3 trillion US dollars. I wish you to have as many of them in your wallets as possible. Before printing begins, the ink in the printing machine must be properly prepared and mixed. At the same time as the ink is being prepared, the patterns are checked. Quality control is an absolutely vital part of production. The average lifespan of a $100 note in circulation is 23 years before it is replaced due to wear and tear. The production line is almost completely automated. Employees only keep it running and replenish paper and ink. The banknotes are first printed on a roll of paper, then cut into a paper sheet where more banknotes are joined together. The most widely used is the $100 note. But the reason is not its use in the United States. Approximately 80% of the $100 bills are found outside the United States. After printing both sides of the paper sheet, the papers are moved along the sliding belts to the next part, cutting the banknotes. The production machines continuously move the banknotes between each printing section, step by step from start to finish. Automated conveyors move the paper notes across the factory, counting and checking them continuously. The production of a single sheet of banknotes takes several days and uses a number of printing machines and printing techniques. Now let's take a closer look at the printing of the watermark and other security features of US banknotes. These belt feeders are capable of processing hundreds of banknotes per second, 24 hours a day. The Fed creates money by purchasing securities on the open market and adding the corresponding funds to the bank reserves of commercial banks. The Fed uses the federal funds rate to affect other interest rates and adjust the money supply. Because American money is made from cotton and linen, blue and red fibers are woven into the material, another identifying feature. These notes have watermarks that can only be detected by passing light through the note. This pallet full of sheets of paper will soon turn into millions of US dollars. Microprinting allows for verifiable images that cannot be scanned by photocopiers or seen by the naked eye. The $100 bill has phrases like USA 100 written invisibly in multiple places. Printing a $1 bill costs 5.4 cents, while printing a $100 bill costs 15 cents. The paper is made specifically for the Bureau of Engraving and Printing by Crane Currency in Dalton, Massachusetts, and it is illegal for anyone other than BEP to possess this paper. The finished notes are now boxed and stored in a vault at this plant, before being distributed to banks throughout the United States. This part of the factory currently holds between $50 and $100 million, which is now being boxed up. These employees had to pass a comprehensive security exam to get the job. There is a rigorous screening of workers when they go home. In a newer part of the factory, the packing of money into boxes is automated by robotic arms. The team of people who produce American money is huge. Around 1,500 employees and contractors work at facilities in Washington and Fort Worth. Although about 40% of Americans are cashless in their weekly spending habits, more than $2 trillion of US currency is in circulation. Euro paper banknotes are printed in this money factory, so this is where inflation begins. The 50 euro banknote is the most widely used banknote in the euro area. There are 8 billion 50 euro notes in circulation. That's almost half of all euro cash in circulation. Throughout the production process, hundreds of manual and automated tests are performed to ensure that banknote denominations are identical regardless of where they were printed. It costs between 6 and 10 cents to produce a banknote. This is the total cost of the ink, the paper, and the printing. Price varies depending on different sizes and safety features. In case of accidental damage to the note, you can get a replacement at the bank. The packing of European banknotes into boxes is always automated using these robotic arms. There are more than 30 billion euro banknotes in circulation, with a total value of more than 1.7 trillion euros. Twelve high-security banknote printers across Europe are currently accredited by the ECB, European Central Bank, to produce euro banknotes. In quality control, the worker now checks the thickness and quality of the ink applied. The 100 euro notes are made of pure cotton fiber, which improves their durability as well as giving the banknotes a distinctive feel. This European money printer runs almost continuously, stopping only for service interventions. A checker under a giant magnifying glass inspects the series of banknotes. Every detail of the printed image must be flawless. Each banknote has a distinctive color and size and shows examples of historic European architectural styles, windows or gates on the obverse and bridges on the reverse. The architectural examples depicted are stylized illustrations of the respective style, not representations of existing buildings. In the event of a minor printing error, the notes are discarded, but not thrown in the regular trash, but recycled within the factory. Between 6 and 8 billion banknotes are printed each year to satisfy demand and replace worn-out banknotes. Due to high inflation in recent years, the 100 euro banknote is increasingly used. After printing, the paper sheets are cut at the end of the production process in this automated cutting machine. This is a highly secure area, almost no one is allowed to go in. There are relatively few employees. They mainly take care of quality control and maintain the printer. After being packed into boxes, the banknotes are sealed and loaded onto a pallet. The annual production of euro banknotes must be sufficient to cover expected increases in demand, such as seasonal peaks, and to replace unusable banknotes. It must also be able to cope with unexpected increases in demand. European banknotes have enormous durability. They can withstand the washing machine, the iron, and other wear and tear. In this factory, production begins on a giant roll of paper. This paper roll is delivered here by a subcontractor. The first stage is milling the watermark onto a long strip of banknote paper. Holograms or watermark are derived from another roll with a hologram strip. A metallic foil is applied to the paper using pressure and heat. This process is relatively labor-intensive and makes the production of European banknotes more expensive. On the other hand, it is a great way to prevent counterfeiting. The 20 euro banknote remains the most popular denomination for counterfeiters, followed by the 50 euro banknote. Together, they account for 83% of all counterfeit banknotes in Europe. Euro banknotes are printed on paper made of pure cotton fibers. This gives the banknotes their special crispness and makes them resistant to wear and tear. Now the paper sheets are ready to print the value of the banknotes. There are 4 stages to the printing process. The first stage is called offset printing. Here, a multicolored background is printed simultaneously on both sides of the paper. Special certified ink may only be used in European banknote factories. The exact composition of the color shade is secret. Color rollers mix the ink and apply the color to the printer print heads. This requires extreme precision. This is followed by screen printing, in which an emerald number is applied to the front of the notes. Quality control takes place between each production step. Each inspector focuses on a different type of work. The glossy ink contains special high-tech pigments that allow the color of the number to change from emerald green to dark blue when the banknote is tilted. During the intaglio printing, ink is applied to the paper under high pressure. This creates high-definition images and a relief structure that can be felt on the left and right edges of the banknote. Employees at this euro banknote factory have billions of euros of money under their hands every day. Freshly printed euro banknotes are either stored in high-security vaults or transported by road, sea, or air around the world. They are ready to be put into circulation. The notes are checked and counted once more before being wrapped in self-sealing plastic film and precisely stacked in cardboard containers slightly bigger than a shoebox. Now let's look at the production of the 20 euro note, up close and in detail. A factory employee checks the quality of the prepared hologram on a computer before production begins. This roll of paper will be used to produce many billions of euros worth of banknotes, which will have a similar serial number indicating their joint production. Each banknote is given a unique combination of 2 letters and 10 digits. The first letter in the serial number identifies the printing works where the banknote was printed. Individual sheets are selected at random during each production phase to ensure consistent quality and identify any misprints. The sheets are counted at each stage of the printing process. The printed sheets are then moved on to the finishing process. Banknote paper is transported across the factory on pallets. These stamps are responsible for printing serial numbers on banknotes. They are always changed for the whole series, not for individual banknotes. The sheet with paper banknotes is first cut into strips and then into individual banknotes, always in a bundle of money, not each banknote separately. The entire production line for the 20 euro banknote is several hundred meters long, and the aim is to automate it as much as possible. With surgical precision, cutting machines slice piles of 100 sheets into strips and then again into stacks of banknotes. The euro was established in 1999, but for the first 3 years it was an invisible currency, used for accounting purposes only, e.g. in electronic payments. The entire euro banknote factory has the highest level of protection. Employees undergo checks and checks to prevent theft. There are approximately 5 billion 20 euro banknotes in circulation in the euro area. This is the second most common denomination, accounting for 16% of all banknotes in circulation. Estimates suggest that the average life of a 20 euro banknote is about 2 years before it is replaced due to wear. The 20 euro note is the third lowest value euro banknote. This is the main mint in the United States in Philadelphia. This is where the US government produces the coins you have in your wallet right now. The speed of production depends on the specifications from the US government. The material of the coins is zinc, nickel, copper, or aluminum. Coins are minted from these strips, which are rolled into a blanking press. There are currently 4 active mints in the USA: Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and West Point. Mint sets are manufactured each year and contain examples of all of the year's circulating coins. The producing mint of each coin may be easily identified, as most coins bear a mint mark. On average, coins circulate among people for about 30 years before they wear out. The design of the coin is usually done in computer-aided design software. The coin design is then transferred to the minting mechanism. Depending on orders from the US government, the US Mint is capable of producing several million coins every day. Throughout the entire production process of gold and silver coins, detailed quality control is carried out by the Mint's employees. Coins are always first struck as blank with no image or value on them. These metal circles are called planchets. There are over 60 coin minting machines in this Philadelphia factory. When all of them are in operation, this factory can produce 50,000 coins per minute. Upsetting shapes the edge of the coin and creates a raised edge. The blanks pass through a cutter where the metal is compressed to form the edge and facilitate stacking. At the West Point Mint, robots take care of almost everything. Feeding metal, squeezing coins with great force, checking for errors and sorting good coins from bad. Another interesting part of the coin production process is the production of commemorative and pure gold coins, which are bought as investment coins. After production, the coins are distributed to safes in banks, savings banks, governments, or to collectors. US Mint is a major producer of blanks for nickels, dimes, dollars, pennies, quarters, numismatic coins, and bullion coins, and purchases blanks accordingly. This single stamp machine can strike 400 coins per minute. At a pressure of 180 tons, a new coin is struck. Employees in this factory work hand in hand with the embossing machines, replenishing, servicing, and monitoring the production process. The press works at a speed of 14,000 blanks per minute. This press shapes the blanks. Coins are dropped into a quench tank filled with slippery water to quickly lower the temperature. The slippery water is a mix of water, citric acid powder, and lubricants that keep the blanks from sticking together. The minted coins are poured into giant containers where a worker transports them to the next station in the production process. These machines churn out thousands of coins every minute and are delivered to banks depending on orders from the Department of the Treasury. In the past, the main coin materials were real gold, silver, or bronze. Today, it's zinc, nickel, copper, or aluminum. The transport of coins across the entire mint is handled by automated conveyor belts. At the end of the production process, the coins are polished, weighed, and after counting, poured into these giant bags. At the end of the production process, the coins still undergo this polishing, electroplating, and applying protective coatings. Coins of higher values are wrapped into rolls using these simple mechanical helpers. The nickel's name is unique as it's the only US coin that is called by its metal content, even though the metal alloy in a nickel is only 25% nickel. The rest is copper. The bison that appears on the Buffalo nickel lived in New York City around the turn of the 20th century. His name was Black Diamond, and his official home was at the Bronx Zoo. The cost of producing a dime has risen to 6 cents in the last year. All 4 mints in the United States have the highest level of protection and cannot be robbed. The employees of these factories have a job like any other. Even though they work with money, their average salaries are similar to those in car factories. Due to high inflation in recent years, coins with higher values are increasingly used. Cents are used less and less. Each year, the US Mint produces about 33 billion coins. In addition to the United States, a large portion of these coins are exported to other countries. Now let's look at the printing and production of Swiss franc banknotes for comparison. The Swiss franc, or simply the franc, is the currency and legal tender of Switzerland and Liechtenstein. This is the intaglio printing. The design is carved, scratched, or etched into the print surface or plate, which can be copper, zinc, aluminium, magnesium, plastic, or even coated paper. Banknotes of the Swiss franc are issued by the Swiss National Bank in denominations of 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, and 1,000 Swiss francs. Switzerland is unusual among affluent countries in that it used to expire its banknotes. The Swiss National Bank has declared several older series of banknotes to be no longer legal tender, sometime after introducing newer series. In a second silkscreen printing procedure, a shimmering globe, which features on each new denomination, is applied to the banknote. A security strip with layered elements such as green and red numbers for added security is integrated into the banknote using pressure and heat via a foil application unit. Polymer banknotes promise better durability, sustainability, and security for a country's currency future. If you look more closely, you can see metallic microlettering and the value numeral of the denomination shining in either silver or rainbow colors. Upon delivery at the Swiss National Bank, spot checks are carried out on the freshly printed banknotes. Once the quality assurance process has been completed, the new banknotes are released for circulation. As you can see right now, the production processes and procedures are very similar for the US dollar, euro money, and Swiss franc. Then, once the serial number has been applied via the letterpress printing technique, the notes are varnished to protect them against soiling. Banknotes are highly resistant to damage, including marking with a marker. The finished paper sheets are subsequently cut to size and arranged in bundles. The print quality and security features of each and every banknote are then checked in a testing unit, and any defective notes are rejected. Swiss National Bank has declared several older series of banknotes to be no longer legal tender, sometime after introducing newer series. According to their respective central banks, the rate of counterfeited banknotes is about 1 in 100,000 for the Swiss franc, 1 in 20,000 for the euro, 1 in 100,000 for the pound, 10,000 for the United States dollar, and 1 in 3,333 for the pound sterling. The 8th series of Swiss franc notes is the most secure in the world with up to 18 security features, including a tilting digit, which can only be seen from an unusual angle, a UV digit that can only be seen under ultraviolet light, and microtext. All banknotes from the 8th series were withdrawn in 2021, but, like banknotes of the 6th series withdrawn in 2000, remain indefinitely redeemable at the Swiss National Bank. The final step sees the notes packed up, ready for delivery to the Swiss National Bank. The diamond polisher starts the polishing process by carefully studying the rough stone. This is the way in which it is determined how the stone can best be cut in order to maintain the greatest weight. The rough shape determines the most efficient way to obtain the highest achievable purity and cut with the least loss of material. When a round cut, such as a brilliant, has been chosen, the stone will be cut or rounded. This is the rounding of the stone. This is done by clamping the stone in a lathe and rotating it at 1700 revolutions per minute. By pressing an industrial diamond against the diamond, a round shape is created. After cutting, the facets are applied, This is done using a rotating cast iron disc. The pores of the disc are impregnated with diamond powder and olive oil. Throughout the polishing process, from a rough stone to a brilliant, a 60% weight loss is not uncommon. Besides the shape and quality of a diamond, the setting is also very important. A setting is the way in which a diamond is firmly clasped in a ring, necklace, or other jewelry piece. Credit cards are one of the most widely used forms of payment across the world. Now you can see how credit smart cards are made on the production line. Ultimately, it costs card issuers as little as 10 cents each for simple traditional plastic cards, about $1 to $2 each for cards equipped with smart chips and contactless payment systems, and much more for prestige cards made of metal or other alternate materials. A credit card is a thin rectangular piece of plastic or metal issued by a bank or financial services company that allows cardholders to borrow funds to pay for goods and services with merchants that accept cards for payment. Early credit cards were made of celluloid plastic, then metal and fiber, then paper, and are now mostly polyvinyl chloride plastic. However, the chip part of credit cards is made from metals. Most major credit cards, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express, are issued by banks, credit unions, or other financial institutions. Credit card security relies on the physical security of the plastic card, as well as the privacy of the credit card number. The manufacturing process consists of multiple steps. First, the plastic core and laminate materials are compounded and cast into sheet form. Then the core is printed with appropriate information. Next, the laminates are applied to the core. And finally, the assembled sheet is cut into individual cards. Once, merchants would often accept credit card numbers without additional verification for mail order purchases. The plastic core of the card is printed with text and graphics. This is done using a variety of common silk screen processes. In addition, one of the laminate films may also undergo subsequent operations, where it is imprinted with magnetic ink. Alternately, the magnetic stripe may be added by a hot stamping method. The magnetic heads used to code and decode the iron oxide particles can only operate if the magnetic medium is close to the surface of the card, so the metal particles must be placed on top of the laminating layer. The core is ready to be laminated. Most major credit cards have a hologram. Older Visa cards have a bald eagle or dove across the front, while older MasterCard cards have two circles with continents on it. In the aforementioned cases, the security features are only visible under ultraviolet light and are invisible in normal light. Three improvements to card security have been introduced to the more common credit card networks, but none has proven to help reduce credit card fraud so far. First, the cards themselves are being replaced with similar-looking, tamper-resistant smart cards, which are intended to make forgery more difficult. For those interested in designing and making jewelry, it's important to understand how the jewelry manufacturing process works. Much of the jewelry is made in Asia, where production costs are currently lower due to cheap labor. The production of jewelry depends on the percentage of gold and precious metals from which a particular piece of jewelry is made. 3D modeling allows to visualize the finished jewelry design and allow any updates to be made before moving on to the next step in the jewelry making process. The production of gold chains is automated by machines. A human worker would do this activity for a very long time. Cleaning and polishing jewelry is an important step. Shine and cleanliness is what ultimately sells the jewelry. After jewelry passes through the design and casting stage, the production line of gold chains is handled manually by the jewelry factory employees. The price of these jewelry is therefore higher. These workers repair and sort gold chains every day at their jobs.